And Flex, we are backstage here at the 2018 Olympia weekend, just wrapping up finals, and I am here with your now 7-time 212 Olympia champion and his coach, Neil Hill. Flex, you wanted to go out on the best note possible. No better way than this.
Oh, and like I said, there's no better way than going out as a champion. Announcing, obviously, my retirement earlier on in the year. I put that pressure on myself, as I've done every single year. And every single year, there's always been a storyline, right? And this year has probably been one of the most difficult yet rewarding preps to date. And if it wasn't for this guy and people in my team around me, I wouldn't have this medal around me. That's the God's honest truth. I'm not ashamed to say, like I said on stage, this prep started off not on the best foot. But then once I got into Steed, once I started walking, talking, acting as the champion in the mindset, not around the world in expos and stuff, then my body just clicked. We went from 219 to 239 within 12 days.
Yeah, say about 12 to 14 days.
Yes, and all that changed was nothing to do with training, nothing to do with nutrition. It was all the mindset. It was wanting to have this medal around my neck again as much as I've always wanted it. Not to defend, to have it, to get that hunger, to wake up and be like, I'm going to win this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Everything to the gram is weighed out. Everything in cardio is done to the minute. And again, I've never cheated on my diet, and I never will. But again, once you apply that mindset to what you're doing, it is an unbelievable thing. The mind, how it works to how you walk, talk, act. And once that clicked, again, the change was different. And just my whole being was different. And again, I just can't thank this guy next to me, not just because of this prep, but for the 16 years that we've worked together since I was 19 years old. I know I said this up on stage, but if it wasn't for him having the belief in me when everybody didn't, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about your win, but I do want to clarify something, because since you announced your retirement, there's been some back and forth, and I don't know if confusion is necessarily the right word, whether you're retiring from competing or just moving from the 212 in the open. And like I said, there's been a lot of, I don't know if confusion is the right word. He looks over to Neil. Is it an okay time to clear this up, or should we revisit this later?
I'll clarify it right now. There will be a future for Flex Lewis on that open stage. I never put it on print, and I done a really well thought out post about leaving that detective work to be done.
Sure.
And 2 days later, Coach Hill says, no, he's 100% going on that open stage. And I was like, what are you doing? Let him guess. F it, he said.
All right.
Leave it up.
Well, I just did want to clear up. And speaking of his coach, as a coach, I got to imagine, you're coaching these elite athletes. You hope one day they can get a professional win. You hope one day they can get to the Olympia. You hope one day maybe one of your athletes can get Olympia title. He has 7 now. He's in incredibly rare company. What is it like to coach a guy with a work ethic and a demeanor and just everything that embodies a champion like Flex?
Obviously, it's hugely rewarding for multiple different reasons. Emotionally, mentally, we've had 16 years as coach and athlete relationship, and we become a very, very, very strong unit. And we've had some amazing years for 16 years. We traveled the world together. When he was a 19-year-old bodybuilder, he's won pretty much every title you can possibly, every single title that you can win in bodybuilding as an amateur, and obviously now a 7-time Mr. Olympia. But what is it like? It comes with pressure, of course it does. But it comes with a lot of sensitive rewards, and that for me is very, very personal.
Now, as a coach for somebody for 16 years, I think a lot of people get the idea that once you've got a formula down, it's essentially like riding a bike. We'll just do the same thing we did last year. We'll do the same thing we did the year before. And in my experience in talking to some of the older competitors, Dexter, and some of the guys that have been around for a while, they say it's quite the contrary. As you get a little bit older, you can't just go to your notebook from the previous year and say, we'll do exactly that, and it'll work. I mean, 16 years is a long time, and you've probably had to make some serious adaptations.
Yeah, like, just to give you an example, you know, when I design a blueprint for flex in the beginning, it's gonna change, it's gonna revolve in relationship what his body's doing. The last week, I don't even know what I'm gonna do in the first 4 hours of the day until I see what he looks like. That's not, you know, like, I'll see what he looks like, and then I'll actually clear my mind, and then I'll make decisions based on that. Like, another one of my athletes said to me a couple of days ago, it was actually Ryan Terry. He said, this is the first time he was working with me, and he said that I've never had anybody who doesn't tell me what to do tomorrow. It's like, I don't know what you're going to look like in the morning, so I can't make changes until I know exactly what you look like, especially a week out from the show. His physique is changed dramatically in a week. It's not even close. It's night and day differences. You know, it's a water manipulation, obviously it's carbohydrate manipulation, it's whether we're going to train, whether we're going to pull cardio, etc. And no, there isn't a blueprint. It is done from day to day, and you make the changes set in relationship to how he's looking on that present time.
And just to add into that too, the diet that I was doing 2 years ago is not even the same on paper as what I done this year. You know, we done completely different food types. Of course, there's a baseline to everything, but as my body weight now is pretty much from the photos I've posted ready at 226, we've really had to change things on the daily. It's not one of these cookie cutter diets. Follow this week and you've got a cheat meal on the weekend, do high carb on Wednesday. No, daily, going by my weight. And then obviously we come into camp here, and this guy's in my room every 2 hours, every 4 hours, whatever it is, depending on his schedule with his other athletes, and them changes are made on the spot.
I feel like the trust level has to be incredible there, because even just listening to you, as somebody who's competed myself, it's like, you know, you're competing on the biggest of stage. You want to make sure you're at your best. As I'm sure you know, all the competitors are their own worst critics and can get inside their head pretty easily. But listening to him explain, hey, I don't know what I'm doing until, you know, maybe the morning of, the trust you must have in the guy. And obviously after 16 years it's been built. But even now, it sounds like it's got to be just incredible.
Well, we are family. And we had this actual discussion yesterday in the room. When 20 weeks comes out,